Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Junk Baller Podcast. My name is Michael Greenwood, and as always, I am here with my good friend, Kevin Otterbein. Kevin, how you doing?
I am doing well.
There you go. That's a good grammar there. Good grammar there. You're learning. You're learning.
Your influence is rubbing off on me. I don't know how much I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, if my influence is rubbing off on you.
Right now, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
As long as I keep you at a distance, I think
that's fair.
I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, it's like 6 feet, like COVID type distance, or because we're less than 6 feet away.
Yeah, that's well, close enough so you can give me a Christmas tree for my apartment.
I let Kevin borrow my Christmas tree, which was given to me by my friend Austin Fisher, who had it in his basement when we were friends back before he moved, and that thing has seen a lot in its time. And it's not a huge tree. But it's a tree.
It's a tree.
Yeah.
And I threw some lights up there, and I got a candle, so it smells pretty good in here.
Yeah, it does. That was the first thing I noticed when I came in here. I was like, ooh, okay, this is different.
This apartment's too bare. It's got to have Christmassy stuff.
Kevin's setting a vibe going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just to get back to the original topic, far enough away where I can't let you influence my language, like how I talk.
That's good. Yeah, and I'm not very good. I'm not very articulate. I stutter a lot, but anyway, people, we have some big news that has happened in baseball since the last time that we have recorded. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about it coming up. But let's get started on a fun fact. And let me just pick it up on my phone right here. Kevin, did you know that if Ty Cobb would have gone 0 for his next 2,529, he still would have had a 300 career batting average? I did the math on this. I divided that by about 550, which is about the average, at bats per season. It would be 4.5 seasons. He could go 4.5 seasons without having a hit and still finish above 300.
4.5 seasons of 154 games.
154?
It wouldn't be 162 game seasons he would have played in.
I just did, it's not specific.
Yeah,
I just did 550 at bats.
Gotcha.
It's about 4. It was like 4.6. I figured it was 4.5 seasons of him going hitless, and he'd still finish at around 300, above 300, which is ridiculous. He's the all-time leading hitter in average, 366, and he had over 4,000 hits, and he could have gone 0 for his last 2,529, and still would have had a 300 hitter. Still would have been a 300 hitter. It's kind of nuts how he's also a jerk. His reputation.
Apparently, yeah.
That's something that we don't see a ton of in baseball anymore. There's not really like the rivalries as big as they used to be, which needs to come back in baseball. Kind of like they need some, like Harper's good for it because he's a hothead sometimes, but Trout's not a hothead. Ohtani's not, although Ohtani is good for baseball just because he's a generational player. But there's no like intense rivalries anymore. Even Yankees-Boston isn't.
Well, that's because neither of them are at the peak that they were.
Yeah.
I feel like if they were both contending right now, it would be a pretty hot rivalry.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think post 1920, because Ty Cobb played before then, the average would be Ted Williams with 344, which is still pretty darn high for an average.
I looked up the career average leaders, and the only one that's still active, that is the highest one that is active, was Jose Altuve at 307. Now, can we put an asterisk next to that just because we don't know if he was cheating or not? But that's the only one that was the first one that was active I saw on Baseball Reference.
Yeah. Is there anyone else with over a career 300 average right now?
I didn't look. I just wanted to know the first. I think there is, but I don't know how many at-bats they have because I didn't see how much it had to qualify. I just saw that Altuve qualified, and I was like, all right, he's the first one that's active. And how many years do you think he has left?
He's been around for
a while.
A decade, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, he's still clutch.
He could still play.
He's not gonna have the pop because he's not a big guy, so he's gonna lose the pop quick. He's not gonna be like hitting 25 home runs 4 or 5 years from now.
maybe 5 or 10 years.
You think he could go 10 years?
That's the range I'm putting it in. I'm not saying he's going to go that far, but I think he would go at least 5.
All right. That would make him, he is currently 33 years old.
He can be 38 and still play.
Yeah. I don't think he would be, I don't know if his game transitions well to older age. Does that make sense or anything? Because he was a small, fast guy, and as you get older, you lose the pop, and he's definitely going to lose his speed. So he's going to become, I don't think he's going to become David Eckstein, but yeah, that was just my thought. But yeah, I think the rivalries need to come back, and like I said, the Yankees-Boston one needs to come back, and they need to be competing, which is good for baseball. And kind of a good transition into that is the Yankees pulled off a pretty big trade, didn't they?
A trade that they really, really needed to pull off.
I agree. 100%. Who'd they get? Wait. Announce to the audience, who did they get?
For those of you who don't know, the Yankees got Juan Soto and Trent Grisham, who is another...
Not John Soda?
Yeah, not Josh Social or something.
That was great. From the Yankees' social media account. What was it? It was John Soda or something like that. I was like...
a tears heading to the Yankees.
Yeah.
That was a Class A troll.
Yeah.
They don't do that very often.
Which is interesting because they troll on social media, but, you can't have beards or facial hair or anything. Yeah. Like, you're up with you have a reputation to hold, and then you just make jokes about reporters and everything.
Well, that's why the tweets surprised me. They usually don't put out stuff like that, at least not in that tone.
Yeah.
But they got Juan Soto from San Diego along with Trent Grisham, who was another outfielder. They sent Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and Kyle Higgy to San Diego for that. A couple of thoughts on that. First of all, I think this trade was kind of a steal, at least on paper.
I would agree.
Because
I want to hear you out.
The two players I would probably miss the most that they trade away would be Higgy. Not that he was like the most talented catcher, but he had his moments. Mm-hmm. And then Michael King, who could be a solid relief pitcher out of the bullpen. Everyone else was not particularly great, or like you had Johnny Brito, for instance, who like in his first game was like pitching really well, and then afterwards he had like a 6 ERA.
Yeah.
And then Drew Thorpe and Randy Vasquez, who really didn't do all that much.
Yeah.
And they got Juan Soto in return, who, I mean,
it could be 1 year. It could be 1 year rental.
It could be a 1 year rental, but I think it's worth the risk.
I agree. I 100% agree, because you have Garrett Cole and Judge in their prime.
Yes.
And you gotta use that. And especially with Stanton getting older and all that. Juan Soto's top 10 player right now. Top 5 hitter. Yeah. But he also didn't he batted 276 last year. He gets on base like crazy.
Yeah. He gets a lot of walks.
Yeah.
I think he led in walks.
Yeah.
He had 132. But he's a 4-time Silver Slugger. Yeah. 3-time All-Star in his short career. He was the runner-up for the MVP in 2021 and the runner-up for Rookie of the Year when he came up in 2018 and has a ring.
Yeah.
So he's accustomed to winning as well. I
don't know about accustomed to winning.
He won
with the world, and it came up.
That's a good correction.
Yeah, but then after that, Washington sucked, and then he was traded to San Diego. They made the championship series. That was that. But then last year they sucked. Yeah. Like that was a nightmare for San Diego. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of interesting that obviously San Diego's has, I don't know the full situation, but they have to tread some money because of a loan, which is really weird. But the fact that they traded some pretty solid prospects to go get Soto, and then they trade him about a year and a half later, is kind of strange. Just because you thought, hey, I'm going to get him for a couple years, at least 2 years, and try to compete, because they still are. They should come back and be better than what they were last year. Like they had a terrible record with 1-run games or something like that. Yeah. So it's not like they were awful, but anyway, I wasn't surprised by the trade, but the fact that he actually was traded, I was like, wow, okay. San Diego's kind of, they had a 1 year plan, and they had a plan that only lasted 1 year.
Yeah. So, and I was just glad they did because talk is cheap. Cashman, Steinbrenner, they talk about wanting to change the culture and change how the Yankees have been doing over the last couple of years. And I was hoping that their worst season in 30 years would be a wake-up call for them to be like, we need to change things around here because, they've been so accustomed to winning for so long. And the culture has become kind of stale in that no one's excited to go to the Yankees. Or there's not that same prestige, I should say, as there was maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I agree. And we were talking about this, I think, the other day, how there was a report, I think it was maybe Cameron Maven tweeted out that, some players have talked to him and said that, I don't really want to go to the Yankees because I can't grow my facial hair out. Like, even though it seems silly, people, because they're turning down millions of dollars, like, these guys, they don't really want to change up their lifestyle just because to be a Yankee. There's not that prestige anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that the Yankees have to make a little bit of change. Like, I think we talked about, like, you maybe have facial hair, but don't let it go to be like Charlie Blackmon type style. Have like a beard like you and I have, like something solid, but nothing scraggly. Make sure it's trimmed.
They talk about having class and all that, but it's also nice to have winning.
Yeah, winning. Yeah, and you haven't won since 2009.
Yeah.
So.
And which in Yankee years is an eternity, not so much for other teams. Yeah. But I like how they got another outfielder to it in Trent Grisham, 2-time Gold Glover.
Yeah, he's a good defensive player.
So he could be a solid replacement in the outfield when they want to like switch someone out to be a DH.
Yeah. I think the big thing that I saw, because there was reports that, they didn't want to add certain players because it was too high. They kept Dominguez, which was big, because I thought that was going to be the kind of tipping point, is if, hey, we're not going to do this unless you give us Dominguez, because Dominguez has a ton of potential.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, you could have Dominguez, Soto, and Judge in the outfield. Oh, that was another question I wanted to ask you. How do you feel about Judge playing center field? You have a 6'7", 260-pound center fielder.
He's done it before.
But he's 32.
Yeah.
A big guy. It's playing center field.
He could do it.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but I think he can. And with adding the extra depth in the outfield, he could switch out to be a DH every once in a while, too, when needed. That was another part I liked about the trade as well. Like you said, they were able to keep a lot, like most of their younger talent. So they didn't have to trade away Volpe or Peraza, Dominguez, Oswaldo Cabrera is still there. So they're able to still keep those guys, which surprised me. I thought they were going to trade at least one of them out to San Diego.
I agree. I think it was a good trade for both, in the sense that Soto needed to go to a new location because San Diego's plan didn't seem like it was going to work out, and he looked like Soto was going to walk. It felt like Soto was going to walk, even though I also feel like he's going to walk from the Yankees too. Unless they do really well. Like, if they have another year where it's kind of like last year, I think he walks. He's going to get, with Ohtani signing now, I don't know what the market is for him, but at least $500 million. Yeah,
but if they win and he really endears himself and he has that short porch in right field.
Yeah, but he doesn't pull a lot. He hits a lot of home runs to left and left center.
It's still short down left field line, too.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, because... Harper hits a ton of home runs, but some of his stuff is just straight center field and left center. That's when you know that they're on, because they're hitting the ball to the opposite field. When he pulls it, it's great. I'm talking about Soto and Harper, but it's. Are you gonna go get a Soto jersey?
No,
or it's the same number as Jacoby Ellsbury, so hopefully there's no bad juju there.
Yeah. Well, also too. The last couple of times I've gotten a certain shirt or jersey for players, they got hurt or they didn't play the same way ever again.
Yeah.
So it happened with DJ LeMahieu, like we were talking about earlier. When he came over, this was before he won the batting title, because I like DJ LeMahieu as a player when he was in Colorado.
Yep.
I got his shirt, and then in 2020, which is the fluke season, but they still won the batting title. I'm like, oh, this is great. Never the same after that.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go back even further to Eddie Lacy with the Packers.
Yeah.
I got another shirt of his after his rookie season or second year, and he didn't do anything after that either.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wait.
No more current players.
More current players. I think I talked about getting another retro jersey. I don't have a Paul O'Neill jersey, who's my favorite player on the Yankees growing up.
Yeah.
out of all the players I have. But speaking of class, they talk about class and all that. They had him in a Zoom press conference to introduce him as a player on the Yankees.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I don't know the circumstances exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe he couldn't be there.
I think it's more of that than the Yankees not wanting to do that, because I think the Yankees probably wanted to have him there and be like at a formal introduction. But I think he's traveling and doing a lot in the Dominican. He's Dominican. Yeah, he's from
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of stuff happening in the Dominican leagues and everything. I think he wants to be there because I think he was at the Miami game a little bit ago. But I think he's set down there. Now, obviously, why can't you just fly out for one day just to do a press conference?
Or even the Yankees could fly to wherever he's at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that was a little interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I had something else that I was gonna say. I can't remember what it was going to be. Oh, yeah. It was something about the jerseys. Like, I rarely get current player jerseys. I normally get, if I do, they're players that have been good for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, like, because I have a JT jersey, and he's been good for a while. I'm wearing that right now. And I have a Harper jersey. Now, Harper's already a borderline Hall of Famer, so that's why I got it. But everyone else that I got was retired or had been gone for a little bit. I have Cliff Lee and Utley, and then who else do I have? I have Halladay. Oh, and Schmidt. There's the jersey I have. Like, all of them were retired, and they're all great players. So, yeah.
And I tend to not go toward overly popular players, so I probably wouldn't get a Judge jersey.
Or a Derek Jeter jersey?
I actually do have a Derek Jeter jersey.
Oh, you do?
I think it has the 09 patch on it. That's why I got it.
Okay. Is it gray or?
It's white.
It's white.
Yeah, so it's Jeter, Rivera, Tex, Teixeira.
That's a jersey, though, right?
A jersey?
A shirt jersey?
I think I have the actual jersey of his, too. I would have to check, though.
Okay.
And then Thurman Munson, who was a catcher for the Yankees in the 70s.
Okay.
That was my dad's jersey. That's the only road jersey I have.
That's cool,
gray.
though.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, so Soto, he's now a Yankee. And I didn't expect that at the beginning of the offseason. I thought that, to be fair, I thought he was going to stay, and then he'd get traded at the deadline. But that's just me. But now he's a Yankee, and the Yankees made a move. The Yankees making moves.
They're making moves.
They're making moves.
They're making moves.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that means that my prediction for Gurriel is probably flushed down the toilet.
Probably.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take that loss for Soto.
Yeah. Speaking of predictions, I got my prediction right that Ohtani was going to the Dodgers. I didn't get the numbers right because the numbers are a little bit ridiculous. I said 10 years, $515 million.
Which is already a ridiculous number.
Exactly. But based off the competitive balance threshold or the luxury tax stuff, they said that the deal is worth 10 years, like 460-something million, which isn't far off from what I said because I said 515. But Ohtani got 10 years, $700 million. And this guy pulled a complete fleece job on every MLB team. He is getting paid $2 million for the next 10 years each year. So he's going to be making $20 million over the next 10 years. And the rest of that money is going to be deferred. The smart thing about this, and I love it because it gives a big screw you to California and taxes, because he's probably not going to be living in LA when that money is deferred. It's not going to be taxed in California taxes, which are ridiculous. I did the math. I saw someone did the math on his contract that after taxes, he would be getting around it was like the 10 years, 700. It was like 10 years, $380 something million. I'm like, or 330 something. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. Over half of that money is going to taxes. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm not getting political here, people, but that's just ridiculous. The fact that he would have to go to California and get all that money. But he pulled a fleece job. He's getting paid $2 million. The Dodgers still have to pay the competitive balance threshold and luxury tax according to what I think it was like $46 million a year or something like that. So they still have to pay that, but in terms of salary, he's only getting paid $2 million. So the Dodgers can still go get a pitcher like Yamamoto, who is currently the Yankees and Dodgers are currently the favorite for Yamamoto. However, the Phillies did meet with him today, and I predicted him to go to the Phillies. I think he's going to get more than what I predicted him to get in terms of money, which is 10 years, $275. There are rumors about $300 right now, which is kind of strange for a guy who's like 6 feet, 5'10", and he can throw 100. The durability of that does not hold up well for pitchers. But he's probably going to get $300 million from someone.
I agree.
Where do you think he's going to go?
Another big market place probably. I think it's similar to an Ohtani, where I don't think he's going to go to, Tampa or something. There's a decent chance he might go to LA.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently based on the presentation that they gave him.
Yeah, Mookie Betts,
they brought
Freddie
in
Freeman, and Ohtani.
Yeah, they brought all those guys in for him.
Yeah, stays on the West Coast, closer to home.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Or perhaps, the Yankees are also up there too in terms of consideration.
Yeah.
Bringing in Hideki Matsui to help as well. And they had the money for it, and I think the Yankees should really try to pursue him also.
Yeah.
And think about all the money that Ohtani's going to make, not just with his contract.
Oh, endorsements are going to be out there.
Endorsements. The Dodgers are going to make tons of money off of Ohtani.
He's the fastest selling jersey of all time within 48 hours, beating Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. Justin Fields is on this list at number 4, and then Bryce Harper at number 5. All time. Like, what? Why is Justin Fields there?
Yeah.
Come on, Chicago. But anyway, Ohtani set the record. I want to know what those numbers are, because that's what I want to know more than the fact that he was the best-selling. I'm not surprised. But this is good for baseball, people.
It is.
Ohtani's signing with the Dodgers is good for baseball. I wish it was on the East Coast in terms of just being able to see him play instead of having to wait until 10 o'clock. But I'm sure that every East Coast game might be broadcasted on primetime or ESPN or something like that.
And I think it's going to bring in more revenue in terms of going to other places as well. I think like going to an Angels game and seeing Ohtani is one thing, but going to see the Dodgers playing with Ohtani on it, along with Betts and Freeman at the top. You have 3 MVPs at the top of that lineup. Who would not go see that?
Every away game probably will be sold out except for Oakland.
And Tampa, probably.
Yeah, probably Miami, too, yeah. Well, wouldn't you think that maybe the older whippersnappers of our old boomers would go see Ohtani and the Dodgers in Miami? And, I feel like they might.
More Miami.
That might be a bold prediction. That every game, every away game for the Dodgers will be a sellout.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Dodgers are going to New York this year, though. I would go to that. I think they are, because they played in L.A. last year.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. They I think MLB put out a timeline for like certain stadiums because he hasn't been to Wrigley and he hasn't been to Yankee Stadium.
He has been to Yankee Stadium.
He has?
Ohtani?
Oh, yeah. The first time was a Dodger.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been to Wrigley, and I think another stadium he hasn't been to, something like that. But yeah, people, I remember we were in the car. Kevin and I were in the car together with our friend Taylor, and Taylor as Taylor said, he looked at his phone and he's like, that can't be right. So he kept refreshing or something. He just couldn't figure out the words to say it. And then like 5-10 minutes later, he's like, yeah, Ohtani went to the Dodgers, 10 years, $700 million. Holy crap.
Yeah. I think we both gasped in that car. Like, $700 million. When's the first $1 billion player going to come around?
Joey, did you see Joey Votto's tweet?
No.
So he said, after the news, he said, okay, the first person that predicts the first $1 billion player and where he signs and how much, and like, what's his name, and what team he's for. He will give them a signed like Funko Pop or something like that of Joey Votto. And I was like, God, Joey Votto, man,
he's an interesting guy.
He is an interesting guy.
Yeah. So I think he's such an outlier in terms of that's probably not going to be for a while, because Ohtani's a once in a generation talent.
Yeah.
who can hit and pitch, even though he won't pitch next year. When he comes back in 2025, he will.
Yeah. Back in 2019 when Harper signed for $330 million, that was considered huge money, like never see again type money almost. And now Ohtani is technically making more than Trout and Harper combined in terms of their contracts.
Yeah. I remember I was watching.
That's not right. That's 420.
I don't know.
No, that's not right. I was wrong.
Well, I know it's more than A-Rod and Harper combined.
Correct.
That's what I was going to bring up, because I remember watching the 2007 World Series, and it was like right in the middle of the game. They're like, A-Rod's resigning with the Yankees, 10 years, $300 million. My jaw dropped to the floor.
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't believe they would pay someone this much money. And now, was it
275? Was it 10 years, 275?
I thought it was like closer to 300 mil.
It might have been.
It was high. Whatever
very
it was.
High. We're watching the press conference for Ohtani right now.
Yep.
He does look good in Dodger blue, I will say.
Yeah.
He looks good in Dodger blue.
They are going to market the heck out of him.
Oh, yes, they are. One thing that I thought was interesting, saw it in a tweet either yesterday or today, he has an option to opt out of his contract if the president of baseball operations or the owner of the team leaves.
Man, who's his agent?
Yeah, seriously. Like, okay, to be fair, this guy's had the most power of anything. Like, he kept it quiet. Like, he could have done whatever he wanted. And the Giants apparently offered him the same type of deal. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm just going to sign with the Dodgers, which I can't blame him.
That's fair.
Who wants to go to San Francisco? And Ken Rosenthal, I'm just reporting right now. Ken Rosenthal reported, I think yesterday, that the Giants apparently are having a hard time signing big free agent deals. They just signed the other Japanese hitter. But they apparently have had a hard time recruiting big star talent because
Jung-Ho Lee.
Yeah, Jung-Ho Lee.
Yeah.
6 years, 118 or whatever.
113.
Because San Francisco is a crap hole.
Literally.
People, if you look at it, there's feces on the street in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, that city, people are literally leaving their car doors and things unlocked so that way it wouldn't get burglarized in. Like, what player wants to go to San Francisco to do that? So San Francisco's having a hard time doing that. So people, like, I'm not getting political. That's what happens when, certain cities aren't doing well economically and aren't safe. Like, it's hard for teams and everything to recruit certain players. So it comes full circle. So I thought that was interesting.
I think Jung-Ho Lee is to what, similar to a Yankee situation where they had to make a deal of some kind.
Yeah.
Because the Giants, they've been trying to go after all these different free agents. Arson Judge and Correa.
Yeah.
And, they went hard after Ohtani, and they didn't get any of them.
Yep.
So I feel like they really need to get this deal for Jung-Ho Lee, who I'm not too familiar with.
No, he's apparently got some personality and a solid hitter.
Yeah.
But don't know a ton about him.
Yeah.
I think what I heard the comps are is like kind of like a Christian Yelich type player right now, like 15, 20 home runs, but also in that ballpark, I don't know, because he's a left-handed hitter.
Yeah.
Got to hit it above the big wall into the triples alley. It's not AT&T Park anymore. It's called Oracle Park or something like that.
It's dumb.
Yeah,
it's like
all these changes to the stadium names.
It's like guaranteed rate field for the White Sox.
It's not even that anymore. It's like, but yeah, exactly. Like, what do you keep changing it for?
It was like from Comiskey Park to U.S. Cellular to guaranteed rate field.
Oh, God,
wow,
what a terrible.
Really rolls off the tongue.
And then Miller Park for Milwaukee, it's now American Family Field. I'm like, what? You just go from like a beer type of ballpark pen, like the Miller, Wisconsin people aren't necessarily American Family. Like, that doesn't fit the vibe. Miller Park's definitely they're brewers. Like, you should have a beer as their stadium name, not freaking American Family Field.
Well, the irony is that like the three biggest markets have the teams that have stadiums that don't have corporate sponsorships in their stadium names. Yankee Stadium, Dodger Stadium, Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Well, Wrigley Field, I guess technically maybe because Wrigley is a gum company.
Yeah.
But
Fenway, is that what's
no? That's after the neighborhood it's in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it's not after a company.
No.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because it used to be Marlins Park, then it was Lone Depot Park. So that used to
Lone Depot.
Yeah, that used to be it. What other team names? What other stadiums? I don't think there's any.
Kauffman. Kauffman Stadium. That's after their owner.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
that's another one. So that's 4 that aren't related to companies.
Yeah.
What's Nationals Park.
Yep.
That's
there,
5.
There you go. Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
No, because it's something. It's not. It's something.
Really?
Yeah. It's something else at Camden Yards. I still call it Camden Yards.
Everybody does.
Yeah. But
Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
is it Oriole Park at Camden Yards?
Yeah.
Really? All right. I was wrong. I thought that they changed it. So that's 6. That's 6
That we could think
that
of.
we can think of off the top of our heads.
Though I do like Safeco as a name for
It's-
a corporate ballpark.
Yeah,
Though now it's
T-Mobile
T-Mobile Park.
Gosh. I think it's because we grew up with those as the names,
Yeah.
and now we're like, ugh, come on, just bring it back to what we were. what we
We're
were doing.
becoming boomers.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
But I wanted to do a quick rundown of my predictions so far and see how they've come about. So I got Ohtani right to the Dodgers. I got that one right. Yamamoto is still unsigned. I predicted him to the Phillies, but he's favored to go to the Dodgers or Yankees. I think he's probably going to one or the other.
Mhm.
I would love for him to be a Philly, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I got Nola wrong in terms of the team, but I got the number right pretty close. I was $3 million off.
And the color.
Yeah, I got the color right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he went to the Philly, came back to the Phillies. I'm happy about it. I know some people are unhappy about it, just because they put 7 years on. People were really upset for 7 years. Like they wanted 5, 6. But I think he's that type of. He doesn't rely on velocity, so I think that's going to hold up well. But yeah, Matt Chapman hasn't signed yet. I predict him to go to the Cubs. Haven't heard really anything on his market at all for anything. And then I got Sonny Gray wrong in terms of the team, but I got the number right. He got 3 years, 75. I said 3 years, 70. So it's pretty close on my numbers except for Ohtani.
Yeah. I don't think any of my players are signed anywhere. They're still out there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, Gurriel's free agent.
Thank goodness for Ohtani and Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this would be such a boring free agent market right now.
Now that Ohtani's signed, they said that it should revamp up, which is it kind of seems like Yamamoto's like the big piece right now. Then I think Snell probably would be the next person because Yamamoto's the higher price tag.
Yeah.
And then I think you'll probably see Bellinger, Chapman, Hoskins, Gurriel, like those type of hitters go next. But also you're seeing a lot of the smaller guys just be like Torreyes. God, what's the big guy that was from Milwaukee, first baseman? He just signed with the Pirates. He was Ronnie Torreyes. No, that's not right.
No, it's a different player.
He played for Toronto a little bit. Big first baseman, lefty. Gosh. I got to do this, people. I got this. It's bothering me. You know that feeling when you're just like, I can't figure out what it is.
That always happens on our podcast.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing. Thank goodness we have computers sitting in front of us so we could look everything up.
Yeah. Pirates first baseman, because I can't remember his freaking name. Rowdy Tellez.
You're thinking of Ronald Torreyes,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
is all over the place, including the Yankees.
Yeah, like Rowdy Tellez. Like he got 1 year, $3.2 million. Like, also there needs to be a lot of the outrage over the Ohtani stuff with the contract. I thought was valid just because they're like, all right, it's good for baseball that these big market teams are doing stuff, but these small market teams don't need to do anything because they get a revenue share from the big market teams. So they're like, oh yeah, we're still, as long as we stay meeting the solid, remain solid financially, don't spend too much money, we're still going to get a revenue share and I'm still going to make a profit. What do you think? We haven't talked about this yet, but
I'm approaching it from a different angle. And I know this is probably going to sound hypocritical because I'm a Yankees fan.
Yes.
And we signed big money players for forever.
Yeah.
But it really made me think about what is a baseball player worth in terms of paying. You're being paid to ultimately hit a baseball or throw a pitch, run the bases for $700 million. And I'm wondering, how much is too much for an athlete?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think this was the first kind of signing that made me really consider that.
Yeah.
Because now we're approaching, seriously, the $1 billion threshold.
I don't think we're going to get there. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be for a while. Just because,
I don't think it will be either.
Because it was a generational player.
Yes, but I think it's sort of realistic now.
Okay. Do you think
not all? I don't know if it'll ultimately happen or not, but it's an actual possibility now that someone's being paid $700 million.
Yeah, I don't see it happening within the next 20 years until another Ohtani player type's coming.
No, I agree. That's what I said before.
Yeah.
Because he was a once-in-a-generation talent. He
Yeah.
got paid that much money.
Yeah, like Soto's not going to get $1 billion. When Acuna becomes a free agent, when his contract's up, he's not going to become a $1 billion player. Like, I don't think there's anyone that's currently or in the farm systems right now that's going to be a $1 billion player. I don't think it's going to be that because Ohtani is that benchmark because he can do both things until the next Ohtani comes around who is that good, like an Ohtani level player, not just a guy who can hit and pitch. Like this guy is hitting and pitching at an MVP level on both sides. That's why he got this. And so I don't think that certain players are going to go above that threshold for a while until someone's like, yeah, this guy's on Ohtani's level. And because the market's changed now, because it's 10 years later, they're like, yeah, we probably should give him $1 billion. I don't see it happening within the next 20 years at least. Mm-hmm. And so then we'll be 50 talking about this on a podcast.
Well, it probably wouldn't matter because
the world's going to die. We're all going to
world's going to die, and even if like they get signed by I don't know the Angels or something, they'll still be losing.
Yeah.
And because of the California taxes, they'll be getting paid theoretically $1 billion, but they'll really get like 200,000.
Yeah.
In actual pay.
My point was this: do you think there should be a salary floor because there are teams like the Athletics, Pirates? The Reds are spending a little bit of money. Royals spent a little bit of money, but these teams aren't spending enough to be like, yeah, we're just going to, like the A's and the Royals are pretty much terrible and don't have a ton of like, yeah, we're going to spend on free agents because we want to attract people to our stadium. They're just relying on these prospects coming up. You know, do you think there should be a salary floor of like, let's say $100 million? That they have to spend $100 million to be, otherwise they face penalties. Because I think that would help with teams being competitive. You know, when the A's come into town to face, you're not excited to go see the A's, but like say if they signed a couple, you know, mid-level free agents that would be a little bit competitive or like, hey, yeah, no, I want to go see the A's. You're like, oh yeah, this day I want to see, it's a good pitching matchup. You know, they need to invest a little bit more into their team other than just, oh, yeah, you know, there's prospects coming up. We're going to trade away these guys and everything. What do you think?
I think the prospect, you know, argument is an excuse in a lot of cases because they don't want to spend the money.
Exactly.
And
the Mariners were a prime example of that.
Yeah. And in that angle, I agree because I think there's teams that are comfortable with being mediocre for the sake of their wallets.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, you know, gorgeous ballpark.
Probably the most beautiful ballpark. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's run by a terrible ownership, and they haven't really been an actually good team in 30 years.
Like, yeah, they had McCutcheon. When Kutch,
I mean, like a team that could go maybe to the World Series, I should say.
Yeah, I agree.
It's been 30 years or so.
Yeah.
Same thing, like, I mean, Oakland was the home of Moneyball.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that got them to what, the ALCS 1 or 2 years?
Yeah.
That it didn't result in anything.
They probably could have won the World Series the year that they faced the Royals. I think they got unlucky because they had like 7 or 8 All-Stars on that team. Yeah. Do you remember that year?
2013,
2014.
It was that wild card game, right?
Because Donaldson was like borderline MVP before he got traded to Toronto. That team was fun.
Yeah, but then they trade everyone away and let them go.
Yeah, since then they've been absolute dog crap.
It's like the Marlins philosophy. We'll get everybody for 1 year or sign everybody. And if we don't win, or if we do win, we quote unquote can't afford everyone and we'll let them go.
Yeah.
I would be down for a salary floor because it would bring interest back to their teams and fans in the stands and actual good baseball to watch as opposed to, you know, watching the Marlins. I mean, the Marlins are get up and up. They were in the playoffs last year, but like in the past, they would win maybe 70 games, 80 games.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not bad teams, but they're not like the most exciting teams to actually go to a ballpark to watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, when they had Stanton and that was someone that you stopped and watched because Stanton went the Marlins was a great player to watch. But they don't have any marketability with any of their players, anything really. Even though Jazz Chisholm was on MLB The Show, which was
It was an interesting choice.
it was a joke. Come on, let's be honest. When everyone saw that, they're like, "What? Like this guy's not even like he wasn't even a 90+ overall in the game. He was like an 85 or 86. Like, come on, you had borderline Hall of Famers on that thing for 10, 12, 15 years now, and then you just put a guy that is not even a 90+ overall on the cover. Like, come on. Like Jazz's great personality. Like, he's a fun player to watch, but he's not someone that you put in the conversation like, yeah, no, I really want to go see Jazz Chisholm play baseball. No.
Did they at least fix the base running in that game?
I didn't get that one.
Okay.
I have 22. Okay. I was planning to see who was on the cover for this one coming up, but I'm also been thinking about getting a PS5 too. I don't know. There's a lot of decisions I got to make right now, but but yeah, people. Ohtani's a Dodger. He's off the market. He set the record for the largest contract ever. He knows how to fleece people like crazy, and it's good for baseball, and it's a good thing. I think we're both happy that he's a Dodger.
I agree.
I don't mind that he's in the NL. I don't think that it's that big a deal for me. Okay, I actually have a question for you. Do you think that they're going to win a World Series with his term as a Dodger?
I think they'll make the World Series.
Okay.
Whether they actually win it,
because they're all 30+. Mookie.
They're all 30+, and they have a good lineup, but I think it's another top-heavy lineup where you have like MVP, and then good players after that.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of the team's going to be carried by those three guys.
Yeah.
And, there's questions in the pitching, too. Not having Kershaw for, the first half of the year?
Well, he's a free agent, too, so they have to actually sign him if they wanted to.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, I don't think so either. I think he's going to stay.
Yeah.
They're trying to trade for Glass now, and they're going after Yamamoto. So they're definitely revamping. Like, they had Walker Buehler's coming back. That's a good thing. But they just traded away they said that in the Glasnow trade that they would be trading away one of their top prospects who pitched last year. And Glasnow could be a rental too, but also Glasnow's like, oh, sweet, I'm going to pitch in LA with Ohtani and everything. But then taxes too, going from Florida taxes to LA taxes, which is drastically different. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I want Ohtani to win a World Series just for him. Do I want the Dodgers to win a World Series? No.
Well, you can't have one without the other.
No. So I think I'm not sure if I mentioned this back at the end of the year, but like at the end of when we did a podcast about the end of the year, I think I might have said that baseball needs to have the Yankees and the Dodgers be in a World Series.
Yes.
Do you remember if I said that or something?
And
look what they're doing. Look at the two most active teams in the free agent in the offseason so far.
Yeah, 1981 was the last time the Yankees and Dodgers were in the World Series together.
Yeah.
And
you get both markets. You get the East Coast and you get the West Coast.
Yeah, the East Coast and the West Coast, and two solid teams with a history and an old rivalry. They've played in the World Series against each other quite a bit prior to 1981.
Who would I root for? Oh, my gosh. I probably would
be a good friend.
I think I'd root for 7-game series, and it just ends in a walk-off. I'd probably just root for the best baseball outcome there is. The friend in me wants to root for you. The baseball person in me wants to root for the Dodgers. Because we all love seeing the Yankees suffer.
That's fair.
But yeah. Okay, so look at that lineup. Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, Smith, Muncy, who I hate. Outman, Hayward, Taylor, and Lux. Lux is their wild card because he was out last year with the ACL. If he comes back and he's the top prospect that he turns out to be, that lineup's scary. That's really scary. But I agree. It's definitely a little top heavy. I don't like Mac Muncy at all. I don't know what it is. But.
And Hayward's had an interesting career.
Yeah, I think he's
gone back to being like a good player.
Yeah, he's always been great defensively.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, people, you got anything more to say about the Ohtani stuff before I get to
I'm glad he's not in Toronto.
Yeah, oh my God. I feel so bad for Toronto fans. The plane with Robert Herkovich on. Oh my gosh. It's so bad.
And it would have been It would not been as good for baseball, not nearly.
Should get a custom Blue Jays Ohtani jersey. That would be great.
Go to a Blue Jays game and wear.
Oh my god, that'd be terrible. That'd be terrible. But yeah, okay. So let us know what you think about the Ohtani stuff, contract, good for baseball, salary floor, whatever. Anything we talked about. Let us know. But to finish us out, we're going back to our kind of normal routine of having like a question and or a fun fact at the beginning, and then we end with a hot take. So I thought of this one today, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't have a specific player in mind for this, but I think that there's going to be another superstar trade happen that's not like in the news right now. Like Shane Bieber, Dylan Cease, like Trout's been rumored or anything. I think there's going to be another like superstar type player trade before the beginning of the season. I don't know who it is, but I think that there's going to be a major shakeup because that player gets traded because, a certain player got injured during spring training. You're like, oh, we can't compete this year. We're going to trade him or something like that. In the back of my mind, I feel like it's going to be Trout because he's just going to be like, hey, I feel bad for the dude. Like, yeah, he's rich and, he's going to be a Hall of Famer and everything, but there's just something not right about him being in LA. And I feel like he's going to something's going to click where he might ask out. Now, again, I don't think it's going to be anyone that's going to be reported, that's been reported so far, but in the back of my mind, I think it's Trout. But based off my hot take, it's going to be someone like, I don't know, Pete Alonso or who's another player? Maybe someone from the Astros or something like that, like Alex Bregman or I don't know. That's what I think off the top of my head. Maybe even the Cardinals, because I think Arenado. No, he can't opt out anymore. But Goldschmidt's been talking about an extension, but maybe he gets traded somewhere. That's my hot take. It's a hot take for a reason. I think another superstar level player is going to get traded.
If Trout was to be traded anywhere, what would be the most likely place he would go or be traded to?
Oof. Let's see. There's only a couple teams that can hold on to that salary. I feel like the Angels would probably have to eat a little bit of that. What do you think about Texas?
I don't think Texas has. Do they have big contracts right now?
Yeah, they have big contracts. They got DeGrom, Seager, Semien. Scherzer, they're technically still paying Scherzer a little bit, but they have another one or two other that are decently sized, but I think that Texas probably could go after him. That's my opinion. They do have a decent farm system still, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. I want him to be a Philly so bad, so bad. I don't think it's gonna happen, but that would be great.
I feel bad, but I don't for Trout. Because on the one hand, he's stuck with a team, but he chose his destiny.
Yeah, yeah. Like the loyalty's he's definitely gonna be remembered as that guy that if he stays with the Angels for the rest of his career, he's gonna be remembered as that guy of what could have been type thing if he just went to another team. But he's also gonna be that guy that is like, all right, he's stuck with one team. He wanted to, he just wanted to play baseball. Like he was loyal. That's respectable.
Indeed.
Because you don't see a lot of players stick with one team anymore. So I admire him for that, but I still want him in Phillies red instead of Angels red. But so that's my hot take. I think that a superstar player that is not in the news yet is going to be traded.
Do you have a number 2?
Oh, that I think is going to get traded?
That could be traded?
Oh, I said that Alonso.
You said Alonso.
Like Trout's in the back of my head, but he's been reported just because before. So like Alonso, Bregman, and one of the Cardinal players. If it doesn't work out, because they're getting older and they want to revamp. That's off the top of my head. I know there's probably another player because Milwaukee's keeping Corbin Burns apparently, and but he's been in the news. A lot of the guys that have been in the news, like Glasnow, Cease, Bieber, and Soto got traded. So it'd It'd be interesting to see if the Padres trade another one of their players or something like that if they start doing poorly during the regular season. Like, did they trade Bogarts? I don't know if a no trade clause or anything, but
I mean, you kind of see them making moves here and there. So if they do poorly, I could see management doing that because they've already been doing that with a couple of the players that they already signed, like with Soto.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my hot take, people. Let me know how hot it is, whether or not it's going to come true. But
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. It's just there hasn't been a ton of movement other than the bit before the Ohtani thing. It was boring, people.
Yeah.
We finally got some movement.
Yeah.
And hopefully we got some more.
It was like just, flatlining and then Soto and Ohtani, and now it's kind of like coming back down to earth a little bit. The Yamamoto still keeping things interesting.
Yeah. If he signs this week, or at least maybe the weekend or something like that, that'd be good. Like, there needs to be at least a signing every couple days.
Please.
Oh my gosh. The fact that because Ohtani signed last Saturday?
Yeah.
On Saturday. So it's been 5 days.
Yeah.
5-6 days. Yeah.
Fortunately, he's big enough of a presence to talk those last 5 days about him. But
yeah. Also, he's a stand-up guy too.
Yeah.
He doesn't he doesn't show up anyone, and it's nice. Yeah. I hate that he looks good in Dodger blue, honestly.
He does look very good.
Yeah. All right, people. We got some stuff planned in the works for future podcasts. Sorry it took so long, just scheduling with everything. And also, there wasn't a ton of free agent news, and we wanted to talk specifically about free agent stuff. So, and the fact that Ohtani signed, we were like, all right, we got to do this. So, Ohtani signed, Soto traded, Nola signed. Hopefully, Yamamoto's next to the Phillies, and maybe who the Yankees go and get. Maybe they trade for Glass now. I don't know. Or trade for Corbin Burns or Cease or Bieber.
They will switch that out and say that the Phillies will trade for Glass now or something, and the Yankees get Yamamoto instead.
I'd take that.
Okay.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that. All right, people.
Sounds good.
That's a good way to end. Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay tuned for future podcasts and enjoy the free agency.
Merry Christmas.